So remembering that acupuncture and meridian theory comes out of ancient rural China, which was an agricultural society. That agricultural society, the first thing that they would recognize of the sun is that the sun indicates the different seasons. So for example, when we look at the seasons, we see that we can identify each season with a phase of yin and yang. So we can talk about that the season that has the most amount of yang, which would be the most amount of sun, is the summer, right? So we would put the Taiyang, or summer situation, at the top. Remember, in everything from China, we always put the south or the most yang at the top of the page, okay? Which is the opposite to us, right? We would put the north at the top of the page. Whenever you look at the Chinese, the old maps before the 1900s, south was always on the top of the map. Okay, so south is always at the top when we're thinking about Chinese thought. So we move out of summer. Summer is an excess of yang, right? And then what we see is that we still have our yang, but we start to have the yin influence. Okay, so we go from summer, which is Taiyang, and we move to autumn, okay? And autumn, which is Shaoyang. It is a lesser yang. It is still a yang experience. However, it's starting to have a yin influence. And then as the yin deepens and goes further into the earth, we start to have a complete yang. So we have a complete yin, sorry. So we have our winter, okay? And then winter, we're in an extreme, we're in the Tai Yin, and we start to have the yang influence. So the yang comes down and starts to influence the winter, starts to influence the yin, and we get our spring, our Shao Yin. So we can see that we are moving from extremes to unextremes, back to extremes. Now here's the thing. The way I've set this up is sort of becomes obvious though, is that we don't have a direct relationship between summer and autumn. We have to have some sort of transition. Okay? And that transition happens through the center. So from the interseason, or from the center, we go out to summer and then we come back. Then we're going to have a transitional period, and then we have autumn, then we have a transitional period, then we have winter, then we have a transitional period, then we have spring, and then we have a transitional period to summer again. So let's go back to our original understanding of 5 elements. How many seasons are there in 5-element theory? 5. And what is, so we have summer, autumn, winter, and spring. What is the 5th one?
Late summer.
Okay. Now here's the thing, that's only 1/4 correct. When we want to understand the seasons in 5 elements or in Chinese thought, what we actually want to be doing is we want to first find a bearing, we want to find a reference that is universal. Okay? I want to find something that's going to be true in China, it's going to be true in Ecuador, that's going to be true in Sweden and Australia. If I use the climates that we associate with the different seasons, so if I'm going to say winter has to be cold, okay, that's not going to work in Ecuador. So what can we use that is cyclical on a yearly basis that becomes universal? And we go back to the sun. It's actually the amount of sunlight. No matter where the person is, that location gets a proportional rotation of sun throughout the year. Okay? When we're thinking about our sunlight, we have 4 cardinal points in the movement of sunlight throughout a year. We have the summer solstice, the winter solstice, the spring equinox, and the autumn equinox. All right? So my next question is, what is the first day of summer?
21st of June.
Now, what is special about the 21st of June? It's the longest day of the year. We get the most amount of sun. Now, does that make sense to you in Chinese medicine that we would take the extreme as the beginning of a phase? It should be the pivotal point is in the middle, right? So this point here, the summer, right? When I'm here between the coming up and coming down, this would be the 21st of June. And I would have a period of summer before and a period of summer after. Okay? Same thing with the equinox of autumn. If this is the 21st, 22nd of September, I would have a period before of autumn coming up where the actual energy of autumn is growing, and then I have a waning energy of autumn going back. Okay? So we can see that each season is going to have a ascending and a descending energy. Okay? With either the equinox or the solstice being its zenith. Now, why would we only add an extra season between summer and autumn? However, why I say it's 1/4 correct is because we do have this interseasonal play between summer and autumn. But we also have one between autumn and winter. We also have one between winter and spring, and one between spring and summer. Okay? So, in fact, we're going to change a little bit of our use of seasons when it comes to acupuncture and Chinese medicine. Okay? We're going to actually look, and now I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of math. If you were to take 365 days of the year, and we have 5 seasons, how many days does each season get? 73. Right. So we have 73 days per season, which means we're going to have 36.5 days before the summer solstice and 36.5 days after the summer solstice are going to be the season of summer. Okay? Same thing with the metal equinox. We'll have 36.5 days before, 36.5 days after, etc. And then if we were to take 73 and divide it by 4, because we have 4 intersections, it's about 18. It's between 17 and 18 days, okay? So what we actually end up seeing is we end up seeing that the first day of summer is going to be 36 days before the 21st of June. So we're going to be around the 5th of May. And our summer is going to end in mid-July. Okay, so we're going to end around the 16th of July. Then we're going to move into a period of interseason. So the end of July to the beginning of August. And then we have our autumn, which is from the beginning of August to the middle of October. Then we go into an interseason towards winter. Okay. Then we have our winter, which is in the 5th of November. So based on the movements of the sun, we are already in winter. Okay? So then after winter to the 16th of January, from the 17th of January to the 4th of February, we have our interseason. When is Chinese New Year? It is based on the moon and the sun. It is the first full moon after the 17th of January. And what is New Year's? New Year's? New year, new spring, new life. So remember, when we're doing seasonal treatments, by seasonal treatments I mean that we're treating something that happens on a cycle, often a yearly cycle. The most common treatment for that is going to be seasonal rhinitis or allergies. So understanding this will help you in your diagnostics and in your treatments, even if you don't do anything else with it. Okay? And what's interesting about this, and what's important about this, is that it's universal. We can apply it to anywhere, to where the person is. So So this is my introduction to the idea of the 5 elements, right? So from these 5 seasons, we go into the 5 different elements. And the original conception of the 5 elements was actually this. It was this cross pattern of cardinal elements of the rotation of the sun, either throughout the seasonal aspects that we just saw. We can say the same thing throughout the day, okay? The fire, or the zenith of yang, is going to be 12 o'clock noon. It's when the sun is directly above us. 12 at night is when the sun is directly below us, or we have the most amount of darkness. So that's going to be the zenith of yin. And then we have the same system, okay?